Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem. Welcome everyone to the Week in Italian Startup, where me and Nicolò, we analyze the latest news happening in the Italian venture and startup ecosystem. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Jack. Ciao, everybody.
Awesome. So last week has been pretty interesting. Very much different. Verticals have been touched. I would say the two biggest round, just to summarize, were about around 6 million in two very different fields, I would say. So one is the first one is Phononic Vibes, and deeptech startup focused on vibration and noise cancelling, raising 6 million in a round led by CDP Venture Capital, but also with the participation of Eureka and Poly 360, so 360 Capital in particular. So let's start with that, which has a very fast and good. It's a good story of fundraising, I would say. I was checking the different steps. It's definitely a solid step-by-step process, I would say, since 2019.
Yep. They've been following the rules, actually. Phononic Vibes is a university spin-off. Or anyhow, if it is not an official spin-off, it's actually coming from a Polytechnic of Milan. The founders are students from there. They came up with this technology of assembly materials or printing materials in order to absorb vibration and cancel noise and so on and so forth. So very interesting value proposition. And they raised capital from the Poly 360 that, let's remember, is a technology transfer fund invested by the famous EdTech investment fund set up by CDP and the European Investment Fund together. Yeah, and that's one of the four. And Eureka Ventures is one of the other three. So they together invested in the same startup. And now, finally, they raised this, scale up round, mostly.
I would say
6 million is no easy fit. Yep.
Yeah.
And in other news, this is the first official investment by the corporate fund, first by CDP.
Interesting.
Yes, with the industrial tech vehicle. So this specific fund is a pretty complex thesis. They will invest in 4 different verticals, and each of these verticals will have a specific allocation, 100 million each. And this one is the industry tech vertical. So this is the first investment of the first vertical of this new fund by CDP.
Awesome.
And that's long story short.
Yeah, I mean, and in such a short time, actually. So the company, I think, was founded in 2018. First 500,000 raise the following year, 2019. And then 2020, again, as you say, kind of growing on some technology transfer funds. And then there you go. There you are, like years later, just a few years later with 6 million. Very cool. Awesome. All right, the second one, 6 million raise from last week is Themis, commodity trading platform, raising from Ori Martin SpA, which is a company doing manufacturing special steels from the Brescia area. And that's a great example probably of CVC, I would say. It's not explicitly CVC, but you know, Nick, I'm a big fan of these kind of strategies. So let's talk about this. So it's one of the first and only commodity focused trading platform, and I believe that's they definitely will take sort of a B2B approach for sure, because that's where the big players are. Yeah, I mean, website is just a kind of a stealth mode, just a little bit of info, not really much about the platform. So my guess is that the technology needs some extra boost, but having players like Ori Martin can really support that and have immediately a customer which is ready to pour resources into using the platform, physically using.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. This is an interesting operation. I mean, Themis was outside of my radar at least. But 6 million is not a small investment. Considering that they started out from agricultural commodities, so basically grains and stuff like that. And this investment comes from a steel manufacturing corporate. So that means that for sure in the roadmap there is an extension of the focus of the markets covered by this startup. And it appears that they have some specific technology that provides some advanced sourcing and managing of the interaction between buyer and seller. But I mean, well, as you said, the website doesn't say much about it. So we are guessing.
It looks like a big part is the simplification of the brokerage relationship between brokers and other players in the market. So maybe it's still a very much clunky process. So kind of digitizing that can really support a lot of like a cost reduction and efficiency. So well, something that probably, we've seen before, and it's a good application. It's a fertile ground of application, I would say.
Yep. Well,
very interesting.
Yeah, that's a possible guess. So we'll see how it goes. A nice round though. Yeah,
huge round. Moving on, Qlash, completely changing topic. An esports startup raising 2.6 million in seed round, participated by, for example, one of the most well-known accelerator, Be Heroes, and then sport professionals and business angels. So let's talk about this. When I see these things, I'm always a little bit, skeptical. And it's a little bit controversial, I would say, because I'm not too sure exactly what's the product there. They say that the community part is where they're gonna develop. The idea, I think, is to actually boost the application so people can come in the platform to actually have tournament in different kind of gaming, in different kind of games. So probably that's the idea. It's an expansive move. Celebs are involved. Makes sense from a marketing standpoint. I didn't know the guys. I'm not too familiar, I must say, on the esport, but I've seen a few. But Qlash, that's the first time I come across them.
Well, they are emerging. I mean, the esports meta trend is quite growing and accelerating, and is draining in people from the wider sports, official normal sports market. From the media market. So it's pretty big. It's expected to become very big, and it is in a sense some kind of convergence between gaming, sports, and media, because at the same time you are basically a gaming company with a team. Think Ferrari in a Formula One. So you're basically hiring and contracting professional players. Then gaming is basically becoming a media product in sense of also of distribution and consumption, not just playing. Think about Twitch. So when you have the big players, you can monetize having your players by becoming a media content company, distributing their efforts, and then you can host events and you can become a brand in the sports sector by becoming the platform on which event takes place. So there are many different players, as you said, and many players are emerging and will emerge in this sector, because the outbound market is huge.
Huge, also in terms, outbound, and also very much
outbound, meaning the basic consumption, not just the actual gaming, the consumption of this media.
Which is not, as you say, is like wider than expected, because the community is the beating heart. You have gamers, but also have the majority who watch the gaming, and as you say, that's a total different way of thinking about gaming. So it's not just I want to subscribe to a tournament. I'm interested in watching these amazing players play, and it's fun. So that's also it's media. It's the intersection between media, sport. Totally agree. Huge marketing play. The community is playing a role. A lot of ads probably are gonna pour into the space, a lot of ads play, I would say, kind of replicating the traditional, banners in the traditional sports, like physical sports. So yeah, a lot of opportunities, and definitely way more scalable than anything that we've seen so far. For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very, very cool. Right, moving on. Let's talk about maybe, our friend from Azimut.
You can pick whatever you want. Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's talk about our friend. We like the guys. They're hyper professionalized. They just invested in a company essentially called Nextsense, which is the holder of a brand called, if I'm not mistaken, BioVita, which is an LED light device that kills viruses and bacteria. So very, very consumer, I would say. Very functional, very, in line with everything that is happening now. So I can see how people are looking into these things. Let's check it out, actually. Yeah. Yep. So, and the application are super wide. So from, home, communal space, schools, public spaces, healthcare facilities, is a lot of application. It's very much a lot of application.
So I have to say that the bold claim that surprised me, but I'm no expert whatsoever, is that this lamp is effective also against viruses, in particular the SARS-CoV-2 virus. That was surprising in a sense. That means that potentially, if all the final tests work as they expect, this is a very powerful product in terms of what's going to happen, at least from fall going forward, fall and winter this year. Because when people start again living inside, probably a product such as this one might have a huge demand.
Yeah,
we'll see. If I may, I probably have to correct what you said. I'm not sure Azimut invested in this startup. For sure, they were active in syndicating the debt component of this funding. So Nextsense raised 2.1 million euros, I would say, and 600,000 from an equity investment by Ulixes.
Yes.
That's a seed investor. And then Azimut, if I'm not wrong, Azimut Direct, the fintech arm of the Azimut Group, they raised a debt instrument.
Yes.
I don't know who subscribed the instrument, but an institutional investor, whoever that is, so undisclosed.
You're absolutely correct. So then the next question is like, we don't see many debt instruments being used for this kind of deals. So why? I mean, I wonder what is the thinking behind going into equity instead of raising like a debt instrument. So that's I'm just curious, because there is such a big variety of tools that Azimut can use. So why in this specific deal then is a debt instrument?
I don't know. The answer might be on very different levels, based on who sourced the deal on the Azimut side, and if it was someone from the Azimut Direct team, you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So that's the instrument. That's a potential hypothesis. The fundamental answer might be related to how you want to use your funding. So the first thing that comes to mind is 600,000 equity, risky, but about setting up research operations and stuff like that, and the debt component for production.
Yes.
But from the article, it doesn't say about production. It talks about R&D and scaling the team and stuff like that. So
I don't
know why.
Yeah, like willing to like have a different risk profile, and that's one way probably they wanna approach the problem, being a more hardware product. Maybe that's one possible way. But I agree, it's tough to say. Interesting though. These guys are pretty much everywhere with a bunch of tools under their belt. Is insane.
Yeah, you find a new one every week.
I know, every week. We should start counting, like we count the accelerator with CDP. we should scan the Azimut tools that they're using on the market, because it's very interesting actually.
Yeah,
Right. Let's move on to Futura. Futura is very interesting, raising 1.8 million from United Venture, Exor Seeds.
Okay, well, it looks like a standard play, start coming up from the LVenture Accelerator with a very nice, I would say, group of investors in its seed or early stage round. United Ventures and Exor Seeds are, also Ithaca Ventures. They are important investors in Italy in particular, but also from an international point of view. So very, very nice set of investors. From the article, it appears that they have been growing so I believe that from the traction metrics, we understand where the interest from top investors come from.
Awesome.
Not much to say. So that's very...
Yeah, and probably we can see in Italy a lot of interesting edtech play. They're probably really well positioned, and also in terms of product, it looks extremely well manufactured, I would say, in terms of UX and the usability of the product. So that's definitely a good benchmark, probably for an edtech startup in Italy, I would say.
I agree.
Interesting. Awesome. All right. I kind of want to we can talk about our friends in LIFTT. Again, scoring another interesting deal in the space economy. I know you guys are looking into the vertical. So the Picosats space tech startup raising 1 million round led by LIFTT and the Progress Tech Transfer Fund.
Well, I mean, apparently we have competitors in the area. No, I'm kidding. That's very good to know that there are other players investing. That's very important. We need to become, as a country, an important player, at least at the European level, in the space economy, because we do believe it's going to be huge. So very, very well that other startups raise funds. And in case of Picosats, it's again that this is about, if I'm not wrong, about enabling extremely small and agile payloads to get to orbit in a quick and easy way. So the simplification meta trend to access to space. Excellent.
Interesting. All right, moving on. I would say I would just give a couple of other shout out. I would talk about the BKN301 deal. That's crazy. So San Marino based startup, banking as a service startup, raising 15 million euro in a round led by Abalone Group with this time Azimut Direct fund. So that's a direct one. And again, fintech plays very, very, very interesting for sure. They're trying to play the card of the, pardon the pun. They're playing the card of being like one of the banking and credit card, debit card with perks. So that's an interesting business model that they are pretty popular in the market, and people are trying to see and reinvent them in different ways. So that's very cool.
But not much to add here. Abalone Group is a Swiss investor, and I believe it is the second investment they're making into BKN301. Not 100% sure, but my memory might fail me. Considering the area, I'm not surprised that CRIF is investing. CRIF is from the Emilia-Romagna region, so close to San Marino. Jellyfy as well, and Azimut is a strong partner. So Jellyfy didn't invest, but at least one partner from Jellyfy invested in. I saw him in the list of angel investors, which is a pretty top list. So
Interesting.
again, another very interesting round from, well, a San Marino startup. That's not an Italian startup, but I had to add for, for geographic reasons.
Exactly.
I kind of included it into the list. But I'm not adding it to the investment tracker.
Okay.
I want to be precise.
Exactly. Please be precise. San Marino is
Exactly.
out. Awesome. That's cool. All right. So let's let's have a shout out to Rancilio Cube, I would say, because that's a very cool operation. So Luca Rancilio is definitely one of the most active angel in Italy, and he's basically transitioning to a Sicaf structure for his family office. And the count on the investment that he himself and his team have done is I think more than 100. Pretty much like split. There is a very nice split, honestly, and the strategy is really well thought between direct investing in international company and being LPs in venture funds, international, not only Italian but international. So he's really trying to cherry pick some of the best investment that he can make and kind of get in some of the best funds that he can do, and that's very, very interesting, pretty unique in Italy, I would say. Very much a benchmark, I would say.
Well, there are not many family offices that are so public in telling you their investments in the VC market at large.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many are doing something similar, but for sure he's good. He's been working for 10 years to take a position on the market, because that you can't show up at the door of a VC firm in the US and say, hey, I want to put 1 million in your fund.
Yes.
That's not that easy, in particular for the tier 1 and tier 2 funds, those with a track record and some names. So they will ask you, who are you and why should I take you?
Totally.
So these 10 years, he for sure took a position, an important position. He's a name now, he's recognized. So very good for him to be around, and I'm very happy for what they're doing, and looking forward to the next steps.
Yeah, totally. Oh, very interesting. And rolling it up into a Sicaf, what do you think are the implications? Is it a more leaner way to manage sort of the pool of the investments? So it's not maybe there is some extra step that they can take down the road to make the vehicle like more accessible, more liquid. So probably or maybe that's a natural step probably of rolling up all the investments in an entity of that sort that can actually be potentially used in different other places. That can be interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was wondering the same, but I have no answer because I know nothing about the ideal corporate structure for family offices. I know that many take the form of a limited company, società responsabilità limitata, because that's easy. But probably when you start managing money in a more structured way in this type of vehicles, maybe you want to expand the capital by opening up the vehicle to some other investors.
Exactly. If you want to onboard LPs, maybe even outside your small circle of friends, that's probably the safest way. That's a great point.
That might be one of the reasons.
And again, we have another example of a vehicle without CDP in it. We're tracking those people, the Lone Rangers doing their own things without CDP intervening. Awesome. All right. So as a final note, let's give a shout out to the Q2 update put together by our good friends Ubaldo. Let me pull it up.
Ubaldo and Matteo.
Matteo.
We got quite a few reports. From the first half of the year. Ubaldo and Matteo produced the quickest one, I believe, and in English. And then we have Italian Tech Alliance with Growth Capital and Startup Italia as well. They both published their report about the first half with investments and comparisons and everything that you can imagine about telling us how we're doing, which is good. So a lot of readings for the week.
Awesome.
But long story short, well, we're doing okay. So investment continue to grow, I would say, even though depending on how you account for your numbers.
Just pulled up your tracker exactly to challenge that.
Yeah, but I mean, the point is the usual that I've been making for a few days now. The point is that we have a couple of huge rounds that I'm not even accounting all of them here. I'm accounting for the whole round by ScalaPay, so including both equity and debt, and I should probably fix that and only put the equity component in it to be fair. I'm not accounting for Nucleo, the 300 million euros. So depending on how you account for it, whether it is a startup and you should account for it or whether it is something else. But if you remove those two outliers, you're basically cutting the funds raised in the first half by half or almost half.
I see.
So they're giving any important contribution to the overall picture. It's true that we have several rounds coming up, not too bad rounds, from the 6 to the 15 millions. We are seeing those rounds, but not that many. And again, the big numbers, you do the big numbers, but the big rounds.
Yeah, they're skewing a little bit, but the rate of growth is kind of settling on a positive direction, better than 2000 and better than last year for sure. The point is how exactly it's going to end, which with this trend, I don't know. It might be a little better. There is a good chance that it's going to be a little better for sure, I would say. Maybe not as wide as a gap between 2020 and 21 maybe. But we'll see.
It depends on the outliers, on the biggest rounds. If you get another one or two of those, and you will easily double the 2021. For example, SatisPay, there was a leak in the news today about SatisPay announcing or raising a new 100 million plus round. It's not announced, but just, they are raising it. And that would easily create another
bump,
another tip, another bump upwards of the chart. So at this point, we depend on the biggest rounds in order to have the real trend upwards. So you can't get to a couple of billion just by the 5 million rounds going forward. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah, maybe a good thing would be to see what if that kind of logic applies also to other European countries. Are they led by the big round, or the small round are such huge in amount that can actually make a difference? That's an interesting question, maybe.
Well,
or maybe
I think there are easy answers to these questions. If you take a look at the aggregated chart by stage, you will see that there is the seed, the early stage, the growth stage, and so on and so forth. You can see the contribution of each stage at European level or at the specific country level. And you see that at the end of the day, between seed and early stage, it's usually 1/4, 1/5, 1/3 of the total. So that's we're missing the top part of those contributions. So
interesting. Awesome.
Roughly speaking, you can see this.
Awesome insights as usual. No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining, and to all the speakers, see you next week.
Thank you, Jack, for hosting. It was a pleasure as always, and bye-bye, everybody. See you next week.